Welcome, everyone, to the 10th episode of Around the ATL on SportsVisions 92.1 FM. 10 weeks in a row, guys. Can't believe it. Thanks to those listening to the TuneIn app. Please don't forget to subscribe also to the IMTM Worldwide Radio YouTube page. You can watch the show live on YouTube each week. Today's show is brought to you by Southern Classic Transportation. Don't forget, they are in Atlanta. They are the best car service in Atlanta. Contact 404-291-0150. Ask for Dennis. Remember, comfort and courtesy on arrival. They get you where you need to go, wait for you, and bring you back home. Also, IMTM Worldwide Images. Call 706-393-8426 for all of your photographic needs. Make sure you let both of them know that Around the ATL sent you. Also, don't forget to go to IMTMWorldwideRadio.com for some of our other sponsors, contributors of the show, other projects that are coming up on IMTM Worldwide Radio. And it's talking about sponsors, hopefully Twin Peaks, who I just finished a corporate photo shoot for tonight. Shout out to Naomi, the manager there, and the young ladies that work there. And speaking of contributors of the show, I want to say thank you again to the following: Jamal Price of Price Design Club, who designed the first logo and the second logo of Around the ATL. Artist Ram One and producer Calcutta for creating the new theme song for the show Around the ATL, and of course Yolanda Elder Strong. And shout out to Josh, Martavius, Deja, Tariq, and Sequoia, Sherry, and Haley, I should say, who are some of our regular listeners in Columbus, Georgia, along with Lily and Sierra, who just wanted to shout out. Thanks for all for the support. One announcement: 92.1 FM Sports Visions will be the home of the Columbus Clingstones baseball team, the AA affiliate of the Braves. So Around the ATL will be moving eventually. Where and when, I don't know just yet, but stay tuned. We will let you know very soon. But also look forward to some interviews with the Columbus Clingstones baseball team and maybe even some current Atlanta Braves. That all being said, let's go ahead and bring in the co-host for tonight's show, Mr. Jordan Jackson, always around the ATL somewhere. Jordan, how you doing, sir?
What's going on, Chris? I'm doing very well, sir. Just continuing to keep my finger on the pulse of all that's going on in Atlanta and Georgia sports. As always, there's things going on. So with that being said, sir, let's talk about them.
Well, first and foremost, we know what time of year it is. The Atlanta Braves are back in the saddle again, and it's World Series or bust, right? The Atlanta Braves opening day season is here. It's always a special time because at the beginning of the season, anybody can win the World Series, right? So right now, who could be that starting lineup, as we do still have some injuries that we got to follow up with? You got possibly Profar, Riley, Olsen, Ozuna, Harris, Albies, Drake Baldwin, the rookie catcher, Jared Kalenic, Orlando Arcia, all in the lineup. Chris Sale is going to be your opening day starter. But you also have Ronaldo Lopez, Spencer Schwallenbach, Grant Holmes, and AJ Smith-Shaver, who will be our probably number 5 until Strider comes back in. But really, shout out to Drake Baldwin for getting drafted in the 3rd round in 2022, and now he's in the big leagues. He hit 286 in spring training with 4 RBIs. Nick Allen and Eli White will probably be on the bench with Brian De La Cruz. Chadwick Trump will probably be the other catcher. Jordan, any start of season predictions for the Braves, wins, playoffs? What do you feel they're going to do in the first 3 months of the season as we get back from injuries from last year with Ronald and Strider? You're on mute, Jordan.
It's always hard to predict what's going to happen, early in the season, especially while we won't have our full complement of players in Ronald Acuna and Spencer Strider. So we're certainly eagerly awaiting their return. Long-term wise, as far as throughout the season, I do feel like this baseball team is a playoff team. I do feel like they're one of the 3 most talented baseball teams in the National League, despite them not being top 3 in the National League in payroll. They may be 4 or 5, but I know the Mets, Phillies, and of course the Dodgers all have spent more money than the Braves, but yet I do believe the Braves are still among the 3 most talented. I guess my main concerns is the shortstop position. Orlando Arcia has struggled pretty mightily with the bat in spring training. I'm also keeping an eye on the catcher position. Want to see how well Baldwin indeed does, and I'm hoping that he does so well that he becomes at least part of an equal timeshare at catcher because we certainly need a good bat at that spot.
This is true. We know that Ian Anderson is no longer here. They traded him out. So I know one thing you've been mentioning: if we have one injury on our starting rotation, what could happen? Don't want to mention it on air, but at the end of the day, I think we do have a team that can compete in the here and now with that lineup. That lineup is still pretty good. You know, if everybody hit Olsen and Ozuna in the middle there, if Michael Harris takes another leap, I think we'll be okay. Long term, it'll just really become a matter of if Ronald comes back healthy and Strider comes back healthy, what that team can do at that point. But we're going to be talking a lot of Braves this year, folks. So hopefully you'll be wanting to chime in with your own comments on the IMTM Worldwide Radio YouTube page as you listen to Around the ATL on SportsVisions 92.1 FM. Let's get into some Hawks basketball now. Now, as of the recording of this particular episode, the Atlanta Hawks are 35-37 on the season as a result of their most recent loss to the Houston Rockets, where they really came back all the way down from 25. They lost by 7. They're 2 wins away from getting back to 500. They've won 3 of 4, 6-4 in their last 10, leading the Southeast Division by half a game currently. 5.5 games from the sixth spot, 1.5 game cushion on the seventh spot, 26 conference wins, 16 wins against teams 500 or higher. Currently, the Hawks would play the Boston Celtics in the first round, who they have beaten twice this season. Last time was in January, where even though we only got 3 points from Clint and 7 points from Vic, JJ went 5 of 13 in the game. We still won that game, and Boston was only missing Porzingis. Yet there are hundreds, thousands of people that call themselves Atlanta Hawks fans that hate everything I just said because it means we're having a better season than last year. Some people thrive on being miserable. They love losing for some reason. They love not being competitive. They hate that Trae Young is on the team and doing well. And they post this every day online on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter to prove how much they hate the Atlanta Hawks and Trae Young. Just the other day, I was basically told that since Dominique Wilkins has a statue in front of State Farm Arena, it negates everything he didn't do as a Hawk, right? So when Trae Young gets a statue, is that when people will finally stop hating him, even though he's already surpassed much of what Dominique has actually done, except for all-time points, obviously, right? Which he'll do in the next 6 or 7 seasons. So again, Jordan, tell me why these people really hate Trae Young.
I think, to be honest with you, sir, this is what I would call a sheep mentality.
Mm.
Ever since Trey Young, or even really prior to Trey Young being drafted, for some reason the media has not been his biggest proponent. In fact, they've been quite the opponent, and that would include when he was drafted. He was picked by a couple different publications as the most likely player in his draft class to be a bust. Now they were obviously way wrong about that, but rather than admitting that and just allowing, giving Trey his props and talking about how good he is, what they've done instead is continue to nitpick his game at every turn, continue to down him at every turn. And so, for people who don't think for themselves and their sports opinions are just formulated off of national media guys, many of which do not watch the Hawks very often, if at all, that's when you get a contingent of people that think like these people think, Chris.
That's a very interesting point that you made. And just think about this, everybody who's listening on Sports Visions 92.1 FM. Trae has passed all the past Atlanta Hawks point guards in both all-time points and assists. Trae is 2.5 seasons away from becoming the Hawks' third-time leading scorer. And the only players to go past, he will have to go past, is Bob Pettit and Dominique Wilkins. That's it. He has already passed Kyrie Irving, Ray Allen, Spud Webb, Tim Duncan, Giannis, Dennis Schroeder, Grant Hill, Charles Barkley, T-Mac in all-time assists. Jamal Crawford, Jeff Teague, Jason Williams, Joe Dumars, Wilt Chamberlain are next. Paul Pierce, Vince Carter, DeRozan, Draymond Green, Kevin Durant, Mark Price. They're all in the realm of being passed within the next year and a half by Trae Young. Year 8, he's going to pass Doc Rivers all time, Joe Johnson, Nate McMillan, Walt Frazier, Kenny Anderson, the Joker, Karl Malone, Jason Terry, Allen Iverson, Michael Jordan, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Larry Bird, Dwayne Wade. Are all those players I just mentioned, Jordan, terrible players? I don't think they are, right? But here's something even more interesting, because when you're talking about mentality, you can't have it both ways. Steve Nash, in his first 7 seasons in the league in assists and points, 3 points, 2 assists a game, 9 points, 3 assists, 8 points, 5 assists, 8 points, 5 assists, 15.7 assists, 18.7 assists, and 17.7 assists. Those are his first 7 seasons, and those last 2 seasons, he got MVP votes. Jason Kidd's first 7 seasons, 11 and 7, 16 and 9, 11 and 9, 10 and 9, 11 and 9, and 11 and 9. And he got MVP votes with that 11 and 9 as well. Okay. Steve Nash, after those first 7 seasons, won back-to-back MVPs, averaging 15 points and 11 assists, and 18 points and 10.5 assists. Trae Young, his first 7 seasons, 19 points, 8 assists, 29 points, 9 assists, 25 points, 9.4 assists, 28 points, 9.7 assists, 26 points, 10 assists, 25 points, 10.8 assists, and currently 24 points, 11.4 assists. Trae Young ain't getting no MVP votes, but he's the only one out of those 2 players who are doing the numbers that Trae is doing, and nobody else in the league or point guards or whoever is averaging 25 and 10 like Trae Young, yet his career is supposed to be a bomb, whereas these other guys who are barely getting 5 points a game are supposed to be great. It's confusing to me, Jordan.
It's very confusing, Chris. First of all, Trey as a player is a very unique player because he can actually control, and in fact, not only control, dominate the game without scoring points. He's just that good of a passer. We haven't seen a passer come into the league like this in a very long time. As you just ran those numbers down, I mean, a guy like Steve Nash, it took him many years to get to the level of where he was an elite passer and point guard. So when you compare his early career numbers to Trey's, Trey blows him out of the water. I mean, easily. And most of the best passers, like a John Stockton, for example, they didn't have the ability to score the ball like Trey does as well. Trey can score, 40, close to 50 points if need be to get the team, to will the team to victory. So Trey's such a unique player. It's quite interesting to me. The one knock people want to have on him is defense, but he's improved mightily on that end. And, he's not near the liability on defense that people make him out to be. And in fact, most of these fans don't really care a whole bunch about defense until they need something to try to tear somebody down with. And so that's what they use to go to for Trae Young. I guess the only other knock on Trae, well, one of the knocks is turnovers. But as we pointed out in the past, the all-time turnover list pretty much has every one of the greatest players of all time in the top 25, with the exception of Michael Jordan. So, that's way overblown. When a guy makes as many difficult passes as Trey makes, he's going to turn it over sometimes. I guess the only somewhat legitimate complaint people have about Trey is his lack of efficiency. I would love to see him shoot the ball like he shot it 3 or 4 years ago, where he shot almost 40% from 3-point range. But it's quite difficult when you're the focus of these NBA defenses. They're doubling and tripling and trapping you all game long, and you don't really have another all-star level teammate to relieve that pressure from you, Chris.
And as we get ready to go into our next segment, Trae Young is 25 points, 9.8 assists a game. He's 13th in NBA history at 25 points a game average. He's above Dominique Wilkins and Kobe Bryant. There are no other point guards in NBA history averaging 25 points and 10 assists. Not Magic Johnson, not John Stockton. Only James Harden, LeBron James, and Oscar Robertson are ahead of him in 30-point, 10-assist games. He's only played 7 seasons. Trey just passed John Stockton in 20-point, 10 assist games. Only Isaiah Thomas, CP3, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, Magic Johnson, and LeBron James are ahead of him in history of the NBA, but we're supposed to believe that doesn't matter. So that's crazy. But definitely, if you watch Around the ATL on IMTM Worldwide Radio, there's a great video there called Hawks Legacy. I urge all Hawks fans to take a look at that. As we get ready to go into our second half of the show, we want to take a quick break on Around the ATL as we come back with a lot of other sports in the Atlanta and Georgia area. Don't go anywhere. This is Around the ATL on SportsVisions 92.1 FM.
You're listening to Around the ATL with Chris and Jordan. We'll be right back with more Atlanta sports talk.
And we are back. This is Chris on Around the ATL on SportsVisions 92.1 FM. We got Jordan in the house out there in the Atlanta area. So, Jordan, let's talk some college basketball. What you got? What you got for us, sir?
Well, when it comes to college basketball, most of our Georgia teams, unfortunately, are no longer playing ball. And the most recent one to get eliminated on the women's side was the Georgia Tech women. They lost to Richmond 49-74 in the first round of the NCAA tournament. And so that ended the season for the Lady Jackets, I guess is what they're called.
UGA, the Bulldogs, the men's team, they also got knocked out of the tournament. Gonzaga knocked them out 89-68. Asa Newell had 20 points. Silas DeMary had 15. They end their season at 20-13. But congrats for the team for making the tournament. They pushed hard to get there. Jordan, any other historical black colleges in tournament play this year?
Well, no. Last week we covered everything that was going on with the teams, and they were all eliminated prior to this week. So that's it for them. I did just want to say, though, I do give a congratulations to the Bulldogs. It was quite disappointing, though, to wait so long for them to make the tournament. And Gonzaga jumped on them quick. I mean, they were down, 15 points before they could even blink good. And I think that's part of the reason is Gonzaga is used to being there. Even they were a lower seed this year at 8 than they normally would be. They're not your typical 8-seeded team, and they were just comfortable. Whereas UGA was kind of, wide-eyed, deer in the headlights, shell-shocked them. But by the time they settled down, it was too late. But I do want to say, I hope they can find some kind of way, and it may be hard, it may be impossible, to keep Asa Newell in Athens one more year. Find the NIL money, do what you got to do, because we have a pretty good class coming in next year, led by Jacob Wilkins, son of the great Hawks legend, Dominique Wilkins, and Bulldogs legend. He will be coming to Athens next year. And so and we had that scenario a few years back when Anthony Edwards came in. You had Nick Claxton going out. And, I just wish Nick could have stayed and played with Edwards one year. I'm hoping they can make that happen now that NIL is a thing, and it wasn't really back then, and pair Asa Newell up with Mr. Jacob Wilkins.
Georgia could have some exciting times ahead, possibly. The Atlanta Vibe announcement, again, in the future, we will have Leah Edmond, last year's MVP of the Pro Volleyball Federation, on Around the ATL. So make sure you're subscribed to the IMTM Worldwide Radio YouTube page and listening each week on SportsVisions 92.1 FM. They continue their win streak. They've won 6 games in a row now, y'all. They beat the Orlando Valkyries 3-1 at home at Gas South Arena and went on the road and beat the Columbus Fury 3-0. Against Orlando, Pia Timmer had 14 points and 3 aces. Morgan Hintz had 23 digs and 4 assists. Leah had 15 points and 14 digs. In the win against the Fury, Leah Edmond again had 12 points and 3 aces. Iko Jones had 12 digs and Morgan Hintz added 3 assists. They are now 12-8, looking really good, especially at home. They're 7-3 there. So make sure you get to their next match, which is going to be on March 28th at 7 p.m. Jordan, some Atlanta United news, sir.
Yes, Atlanta United FC fought to a 2-2 draw against FC Cincinnati. Emmanuel Latte Lot scored a goal at the 50th minute, as well as Alvis Powell at the 88th minute to score the two goals for Atlanta United. Brad Guzan had 4 saves. Shots on goal favor Cincinnati 6-5. And also time of possession favors Cincinnati, as Atlanta United only possessed the ball 45% of the time. The draw now puts United's record at 1 win, 2 losses, and 2 draws. So still a lot of soccer left to play in this season, but we'd love to see United, the 5 Stripes, get back in the win column, sir.
I know I would. Can you give us an update on the Skyhawks lately? They're in College Park.
Yes, sir. Kind of mixed results this past week with the Skyhawks. First game, they lost one to the Knicks G League team, 125-130. They were led by Jarkel Joyner, who amazingly had 38 points off the bench for the Skyhawks on 10 of 16 from three-point range. And oddly enough, he hit a buzzer-beating 3 to end every quarter of regulation in that ball game. First, second, third, and fourth quarter. Right. But unfortunately, the Skyhawks did fall in OT. Then the next game, the Skyhawks did get a win, 120-95 against the Cleveland Charge. Skyhawks were led that game by Atlanta Hawk two-way player Daquan Plowden with 27 points, 9 rebounds, and 4 assists, Chris.
Okay. Back in Columbus, Georgia, we have the Columbus Storm. Now, the other week, Coach Brad had the team playing really well, but they hit another snag. This time, when they went to New Orleans, they got beat by the Crescent City Kings 33-6. Right now, they're currently 3-2 on the season. Have you been to any games yet? Again, you need to make sure that you get down to Garrett Harris Stadium in Columbus to watch them play. In the last game, you had some players to note, and these are some of the players that you get to hear quite often. Trey Critterton on offense, number 18, Terrian Davis, number 19, and Slayton Graham, number 12. And Kobe Collins, number 7. Make sure you get a chance to watch these guys in Columbus, Georgia at Garrett Harris. And their next game actually is going to be April 5th against the Panama City Panthers, so make sure you support them. And also visit them on the Columbus Storm Facebook page as well. The Columbus RiverDragons earned a home-and-home split with the Carolina Thunderbirds in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. They lost the first game 3-1, then won 5-2. Justin McDonald had the only goal in the loss, but in the win, Cody Whitline had 2 goals and Nolan had 2 assists. They're currently still third in the conference at 24-13. Again, playoff hockey is almost here, guys, so make sure you get to the Civic Center. Each round is a best of 3. So if you're not there, you're going to miss something. So make sure you go to the Columbus RiverDragons website, and so that way you don't miss any action. Jordan, before we get finished with our last team, any updates on any other teams that you can think of right now?
Yes, absolutely, Chris, there is. In fact, on social media, most major sports cities has a writer or a super fan or whatnot that kind of keeps a counter of how many days it's been since that city has won a championship. Well, you can reset that counter for the city of Atlanta, sir, because in the TGL Golf, the Atlanta Drive Golf Club took home the first ever TGL championship. The first match was on Monday, and they won 6-5. It was a thrilling comeback because they trailed 2-4 in that match. But Patrick Cantley came up clutch by making a 6-foot birdie putt to give Atlanta a 6-5 victory and take a 1-0 lead in the best of 3. Then come back on Tuesday, it was nip and tuck match back and forth. On the 14th hole, Billy Horschel stuck a 17-foot putt on the 14th hole to give Atlanta Drive the lead. And Patrick Cantlay once again came up big in birdie 18 to match the New York Golf Club's birdie and to preserve the win for Atlanta. With that being said, congratulations to Billy Horschel, Patrick Cantlay, Justin Thomas, the three guys who were part of the winning team to bring home the championship, but also Lucas Glover, the fourth member, who has played throughout the season and contributed as well. And congratulations to Arthur Blank, the owner of the Atlanta Drive Golf Club. There's a picture, and I posted it on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, at Jordan23ATL, of Arthur Blank just cradling the trophy. And he looks so happy, sir, to be cradling that trophy. So congratulations to all of those guys, and thank you to those four gentlemen for bringing the championship to the city of Atlanta.
Huge news there for the Drive. I'm glad I asked for that update now. Jordan, I appreciate that because I didn't have them pulled up. Appreciate that. And it's a championship. It's another actual championship in Atlanta. That is huge news there for the city of Atlanta. It's pretty cool. Last but not least, the Columbus Lions. Now, a couple of weeks ago, they destroyed Peach State 85-0. This most recent week, they won again. Another shutout, 25-0 against the Carolina Cobras. So right now they're 2-0 on the season. So again, make sure you're going and supporting these teams in the Atlanta area, the Columbus area. We have so much sports that's going on this time of year. It's crazy when you really think about it. So you can't complain there's nothing to do if you don't go out there, right? So I want everyone to remember that, and also remember that each week on SportsVisions 92.1 FM, you can hear Around the ATL talk about all of these Atlanta and Georgia sports. As we wind down the show, again, thanks for everyone who's been listening to us over the last 10 weeks here on SportsVisions 92.1 FM Around the ATL, whether you're in Atlanta or Columbus or Texas or Australia or London, Africa, wherever you are. Make sure you're telling your friends about Atlanta and the Georgia sports that we bring to the table on Around the ATL. Again, subscribe to the IMTM Worldwide Radio YouTube page. You can watch us live there. Also, IMTM Worldwide Radio, the website, .com, the website. Follow us on Intellect ATL and Jordan 23 ATL. Jordan mentioned that earlier. And don't forget, Southern Classic Transportation and also IMTM Worldwide Images are our sponsors. And if you want to become a sponsor, let me know. Jordan, any last words, sir?
Absolutely. Guys, don't risk getting the DUI. Call Southern Classic Transportation when you want to go out and have a good time so you can get your drink on and not have to worry about being pulled over. Southern Classic Transportation will show you a new standard in service. One last sports note, shout out to Dyson Daniels, who became the youngest player in NBA history to get over 200 steals in a season. I also want to give a shout out to my mom, who is battling cancer. I love you, Mom. And last but not least, I want to thank God for giving me this breath that I breathe to talk about these Atlanta and these Georgia sports that I love. Peace up, A-Town down. Thank you for listening to us on SportsVisions 92.1 FM, as always.
And again, thanks to all of our listeners and fans. I just see A1 Forever pop in on the messenger there. What's going on, man? Again, don't forget, every Thursday, 7 p.m., SportsVisions 92.1 FM. Until next time, always be watching, always be listening Around the ATL. Until next time, y'all take care.
Dribble, pass, throw, catch, hit, slide, grab, respect, around the ATL. Dribble, pass, throw, catch, hit, slide, grab, respect. This is ATL, you know we stay lit. Always united, check the new kit. Home of the praise, yeah, we on deck. We fly like a bird, like them hawks, check. Soaring through the city, rise up, dirty birds. All we do is win, losing's a dirty word. Selling out them seats, the city is on blast. Gotta get your tickets cause they selling out fast.